Hey, what's going on? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching the Sit Down. Jordane Christie here with us. Why Women Kill Season 2 coming to Paramount Plus on June 3rd. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself? Thanks for having me.
Of course, everything's good. We got another season of the show, and it looks like a banger of a season. So, what was it like jumping into this one?
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, you guys are in for a treat for sure. I mean, it was. I mean, just the start, it was wonderful. Just jumping into 1949, just a completely different vibe within, from top to bottom, really from the sets to the. I had a lot of fun with the cars. I got to learn how to drive stick. Drive manual. I never knew how to drive manual before, and I spent a lot of time this season cruising. So yeah, it was great. Very immersive experience.
How long did it take you to learn how to drive stick?
I learned. So I had about four lessons, four 30-minute lessons before I had to be on set and make it work and make it pop. You know. But it was cool. I mean, I'm a pretty good driver automatically. With the maneuvers of regular driving, it wasn't too difficult. It was just a matter of it's like a dance. There's no texting and driving with driving manual. That's for sure. Which is a good thing.
No doubt about it. Yeah, too much going on there with that one. You mentioned 1949. What did you learn about that time period? What was most interesting to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, in my solo work, it was definitely cool. It was definitely very informative to study a lot of the political elements of the time. But in our world, it's pulled a lot from classic films. So there was a big part of my research, as well as just taking in the golden era of Hollywood and watching a lot of those old films and playing with that lingo, learning the lingo, because the way they speak, a lot of the vocabulary can be dated, and it was cool slipping that on.
How about Vern? What can you tell us about him, and what was it like to play that character?
Well, Vern is a juicy character. I had a lot of fun with Vern. I mean, he's got a troubled background. I mean, he's been through quite a bit, but he's been a little bit hardened by his experiences. He's a veteran, and a private investigator, but he essentially stands for what is right, what is moral, and he's really good with assessing people. He's thrown himself into his work, and we get to kind of see him unravel. And he's involved in a lot of the ladies' lives in very pivotal ways. So you get to see him be challenged throughout the season, and him challenge them throughout the season.
You've done a lot of different projects in your career. What made this one a little bit different? What were some of the surprises that you encountered?
So what stood out about this is there's a lot. The writing is really smart, and it's choppy, and it's rhythmic. So it has its own tone, just that juicy, dark comedy. It has pulls on a lot of different elements, which was super fun to play with. So that was honestly the biggest thing for me, just in terms of just absorbing all that, absorbing that rhythm. It's a very buoyant show, so it pops. When you see it, you won't miss it. This is a show that definitely won't go unnoticed. So it has something to say for sure, in a very vibrant way. So it's a very vibrant show, and I had fun with it.
Awesome. Well, you've been all around the country and the world as well for your work. You spent some time in London. There you did some training there. What was most interesting about your studies there?
Yeah, so so I'm from Atlanta, and I trained. I went to Brooklyn College in New York, and then I studied in London as well. Um, um, did some further classical training in London with Shakespeare and so on. And yeah, it's a bag of tools. So just taking different classes and getting used to doing all different kinds of things. When you can play, it really informs my process and builds a solid foundation for me. And when you can play with the grand schemes and the language of Shakespeare, and boiling it down to simplify it, then you can also jump into our modern day way of speaking, modern day text. And it was, yeah, it was honestly, got to use some of that here in this world. So that was fun.
Good deal, man. Well, Jordane, nice to meet you. Congrats on the show, and we'll talk to you down the road. All right.
Thanks, DJ. Have a good one.